Hello, this is Tori Henderson, and I am here to talk to y'all about friendship drama. So I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on one second. My little keynote. And okay, Betsy, can you see my keynote? I just want a little confirmation before I start talking.
You yes, guys can... I can see it.
Okay, cool. So it's going to record. And although that's not the first slide, so that's not very helpful. All right, so I'm Tori Henderson. I am here talking 5 powerful life lessons girls can learn from friendship drama. I just love this topic. So I'm so glad you guys are here with me today, whether it's because you're interested also in helping girls or because you're dealing with some stuff at home. I'm really glad to have you here. And I just wanted to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tori Henderson. I work as a life coach, a teacher, and a speaker. My website is lifecoachingforparents.com. And so my day job is life coaching parents over the phone. And then I also, at timeforthetalk.com, I have a place where I teach sex education classes for parents to take with their 9 to 12-year-old son or daughter. And that has an online class as well as I teach live in-person classes. And then I also do a summer called a leadership camp for girls. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that at the end. But I kind of like to work with both kids and parents. It just makes me feel a little more well-rounded than just doing one or the other. And so since I couldn't find the perfect job for me, I made it up. And I have a lot of background, but I used to be a 4th grade teacher. And I had this epiphany one day when I was teaching in the classroom. My kids would go outside to recess and they struggled to have fun at recess. They would come back in and they'd be angry and grumpy and bitter. And what we realized is that the kids at the school, they didn't know how to self-organize play. They didn't know how to say, hey, do you want to play with us? You be the goalie, I'll be the hitter, you be in, I'll be out, you be A, I'll be B, whatever. They didn't know how to get other kids going in a fun way. They might chase each other or tease each other. There was interaction going on, but it wasn't positive. And so the whole, year we kind of practiced some conflict resolution skills and social skills, like how to invite somebody to join your team and what do you do if they don't play by the rules that you've set up and things like that. And what I realized this one day was I would rather live in a world full of nice people than smart people. And here I was in a job where I was supposed to be teaching them history and math and science and all this stuff. And it just seemed so much less important than being able to relate and have good conversations with their peers. That was my last year of teaching. I stayed home with my son when he was born. And then I never went back to the classroom because I thought I am so much more interested in the social and emotional aspects of learning that I'm going to find a way to do that. So you are in the right place today. If you are a life coach, a teacher, a youth leader, a parent, a counselor, anyone else who has a passion for helping girls navigate their way through friendship drama. If you feel yourself getting triggered when girls behave inappropriately, in life coaching, what we call that, we need to clean that up so that we can help more effectively. So if your daughter comes home and she's sad because girls are being mean to her, sometimes you can kind of feel it. If you've got extra anger or resentment and it's left over from your middle school experiences, if you want to go beat up that bully, then we want to clean that up so that you can be more of an effective tool for helping your daughter, because otherwise she's just going to pick up on your residual leftover energy or that kind of feeling of being left out or whatever. So then you're in the right place. We need to get cleaned up. And also, if you're interested in learning more about the social and emotional dynamics of girls aged 8 to 18, people ask me, what age is this geared towards? And I put 8 to 88. I mean, if you don't learn these lessons when you're young, the universe will keep repeating them and sending them to you over and over again until you learn them. So that 8 to 18 is what I'm going to talk about today, but you might find it relevant for you now. Girl power. Do you have a passion for empowering girls? Is this something that's exciting for you? Do you think social and emotional skills are important for success in life? Do you think the world would be a better place if women owned their power, like stepped into it instead of waiting for the media to tell you you're worthwhile, or for a boy to tell you you're good enough, or even girls? Wouldn't the world be a better place if girls stepped into believing they are good enough and worthy and powerful as they are? And if you like hanging out with girls, talking, playing games, doing art activities, then I want you to make sure you stay till the very end of the class, because I'm going to be talking about an opportunity that I think you would like, that I'm excited about. So what is the problem? Why did I have such a big turnout for a call about friendship drama, and when so many people are interested in wanting help with this? What is the problem that we see with girls today that bugs us? And this is some of the things you wrote to me in emails, or that I have heard through the years. So we've got mean girls, excluding behavior. I'll be friends with you today because my best friend's homesick, but as soon as she comes back, you're out. That's really hard for parents to watch. We tend to not do that as adults. Social media has really changed the landscape of things, where now your friends can be having a great time without you, and you know about it, and you can see it and have evidence of it, and it's more hurtful. And certainly group texts and, posting things online that can hurt feelings. It's just some kids need more social skills today than they did, I think, in the past because of this. Sometimes there's a group mentality or group think that's really hard for adults to watch, because we kind of have outgrown this. Where I can't talk to her, I can't be nice to her, because then my friends will reject me. And what would they think if I was nice to her? So that sometimes this stuff happens around middle school, and it's really hard to watch. Some girls today are dealing with some real important problems. We're seeing an increase in just about every brain-related problem, whether it's ADHD or autism or Asperger's, and depression and anxiety come up with that. And sometimes girls' friendships today become challenging because they're asked to keep secrets for their friends who are cutting, or who think the world would be a better place if I didn't live in it. And that's a really heavy burden for girls to carry. So that's another problem that we're seeing today. Of course, there's a lack of loyalty in friendships. There's a lack of honesty in friendships. Girls just do not know how to speak their mind in an assertive way. They're so afraid of being a mean girl that they just sometimes don't say anything and are completely passive. They don't know how to be assertive. And of course, a lack of consideration for others' feelings. They might not know that their words have an impact on others, especially online. We don't get to see the impact and how we hurt their feelings. In person, it's easier to tell. But girls, they don't always show it, so we don't always know. And why all this is a problem is because intuitively, I think we all know that social and emotional skills are the number one predictor of success in life. If you have good social skills and you know how to connect with people, it is a huge impact on your ability to be happy as well as successful in careers and things like that. So it really is important. Relationships are important. I think if you're on the line here, you know that. So the 5 life lessons that girls can learn from friendship drama are, I'm going to go through them in more detail later on, but number 1, the only constant is change. So for some girls, this is the first time they realize it, is when their friends don't want to be their friends anymore, is that things can change at the drop of a hat. And that's unnerving. It's scary for them. They start to realize that, gosh, my parents could get divorced, my house could burn down, an earthquake could hit and knock down my school. Like, things can happen. And it feels very insecure and scary at an insecure, scary time for them. So what can you count on? If everything is changing around you, where do you go? We're going to talk about that. Number 2, people get to do whatever they want. This is the most freeing thought, if you can get there. It doesn't seem like it would be. People want to argue this. They're like, no, just because they can doesn't mean they should. I was coaching this 15-year-old client the other day, and she's like, just my sister shouldn't behave this way. She should be nice. And she was spending so much energy trying to figure out how her sister should behave and arguing with it. And her sister was not. Her sister was doing whatever she wanted to do. As soon as you can realize and accept that people are going to do whatever they want to do, then you can focus on where you do have control and power, which feels much better than trying to change other people. Number 3, how to feel your feelings. The most important thing, I think, for girls going through adolescence is how to feel a feeling. You might as well learn it now, because there are people in their 80s who are still don't know how to feel a feeling. We'll talk about that. Number 4, you get to decide what you make it mean. This is really about how to know the truth from a lie, and where you get power and control when somebody behaves in a way you don't like. And number 5 is, what do I want? What has my life experiences told me? How has it informed me to figure out, what do I want? When my friends don't want to be my friends anymore, okay, what does that teach me about what I want more of and what I want less of? It's a huge life lesson. Okay, but before we go into those 5 things, I want to cover just a brief overview of the social and emotional milestones, developmental milestones that are totally normal for girls to go through. And this is from Joanne Deek's book, Girls Will Be Girls, which I absolutely loved. If you like reading about this kind of stuff, it was a really good one. Does anybody have any questions so far before I go into kind of the normal developmental milestones of girls, of social behavior for girls? Okay. Feel free to jump in anytime. Okay, I will hear you and just unmute yourself, and I'll stop for you, because I know my voice can get tedious. So when babies, so they did this experiment with babies, they put lipstick on their face and put them in front of a mirror. And the first, about 10 months of their life, they will reach out and try to wipe it off the mirror. They see something's wrong. They see there's something that doesn't belong, and they'll reach out to the mirror to brush it off. Around 10, 11, 12 months, they will turn to their face and wipe it off their face. That this is the first step in self-awareness, that person in the mirror that I see is me. It's not another baby. It's not someone that looks like me. That I am me, and that's my reflection. So that 1-year-old stage of separation anxiety usually starts, where they realize I am a different person than my parent, and we can be separate. It's scary, and it's kind of that first stage in social development. The next stage is parallel play. You might have heard of this when your kids were 2 years old, and they would play side by side, doing the exact same activities, but not interacting, not looking, not talking. They might just kind of glance over and copy the other person. That's the next step in the social developmental milestone. 3 to 5-year-olds have a very important social milestone. This is called interactive relationships. And I think if we want to know why we have a bullying problem today, this is one of the key things, is that kids are not spending enough time fighting, arguing, and hurting each other between the ages of 3 to 5. This is what they're supposed to be doing in the preschool years. And there's been this big push towards academics in preschool and sitting at a desk and holding a crayon. And of course, technology comes into that, where it's just so much easier to stick a kid in front of an iPad to play some games. We get some peace and quiet, and they don't fight with their sibling. They don't, cry and whine and complain and throw stuff and bite and hit and all that stuff. But all that stuff is important. And the other thing where we kind of can blame ourselves for the bullying and the lack of social skills in some of our kids today is that we became afraid to parent other people's children. When there's kids playing in the sandbox and one's throwing sand, a lot of moms today will just pick their kid up and walk away and say, you don't want to play with him, he's throwing sand at you. Really what that child needs is an adult authority to stand there and say, not throwing sand, put it down. We don't do that. Look at her, she's crying. Look at how she feels. Look at her face. They really need to learn that, and parents just aren't and preschool teachers are crazy even getting the pressure from parents to realize that's really important. And you kind of stand there and monitor it until you say, oh, here, let's scoop it in the bucket. Put the sand in the bucket. That's how kids learn. And so if they don't learn it between 3 to 5, they will continue these interactive relationships that are a little bit messy and sloppy up into the school age years. So this is, I think, what we're seeing today is it's kind of extending it later. Ages 6 to 8, these tend to be the glory years for female friendships. They call them the pink spoon years. I think that was Joanne Deeks, the way how she described it. It's like going into Baskin Robbins and you get one of those tiny little pink spoons and you just want to sample different friendships, different types of girls. Like, I want to taste them all. I'm friends with everybody. How do I know what kind of girl I like to play with until I've sampled them all? So usually girls are pretty open and very fluid with their friendships, and birthday parties tend to be huge because they can't exclude anybody. They tend to like a lot of different girls at this age. So this is a really nice stage, and parents have a nice time with it. Then when it changes, it gets a little harder for us. So girls are learning to figure it out. Do I like crafty and creative girls, athletic and sporty girls? Do I like girls who enjoy pretend play and dress up? Do I like competitive play or cooperative play? Do I want to hang out with someone who's a bossy leader or is willing to let me be the bossy leader? Do I like kids who follow the rules or rebel with a gleam in their eye? This is experimentation time, and it's usually pretty simple until 9 to 10 years old. So around this age, you've kind of sampled every flavor of girl out there, and you start to narrow it down and say, gosh, I really like chocolate. That's my favorite, but I'm not sure yet if I like Rocky Road or mint chip or, chocolate, whatever. So you kind of start to narrow down your group a little bit more so that you can get to know them more intimately. And you want to the girls want to get to know each other on a deeper level. And that's too hard with a large group. So they tend to create a smaller group. And at this age, because you get more intimacy and closeness, you also can get more tears, more emotions, more frustrations. And of course, puberty can start at these years too, which aids that. 11 to 12-year-old girls, this is really the BFF stage. Best friends, that if they don't have one, they tend to want one, or they tend to think that they should have one, and maybe something's wrong with them for not. These are the years where 85% of girls feel socially on the outside. That's like the majority of girls. So we all think we're socially excluded. And even if you have the best friend, you can get those warm, fuzzy feelings where you feel very connected and you talk every day and you wear the exact same clothes and you text 10,000 times a day and you like the same singers and the same TV shows and everything's the same. It gives us that feeling of security. And it's really practicing for intimate relationships later on. But with deep connection and intimacy also comes conflict and high emotion, right? Deep connections equal deep pain. So this is totally normal. And some kids are not ready for that to start practicing intimacy at that level. And some kids are. And so that can create a conflict. I want us to be best friends and do everything together. And that gets a little too constricting for one of the girls. And they want to leave that tight-knit group or that tight-knit closeness. So really normal stuff. Ages 12 to 14, this is when we can see cliques starting to emerge. This is just a clique kind of gets parents triggered and thinks it's a negative thing, but we'll just call it a very tight-knit group where they look alike, talk alike, dress alike. You can see them move. If you're a bird on a school campus, they move like amoebas. Like they always maintain their form and their shape. But the more impermeable and powerful a clique is, the more insecure its members are. Because there's this fear of being ousted that makes you really have to kind of lose yourself in order to fit into this group. And there can be insecurity, there can be fear involved, and definitely exclusion. And they definitely seem to feel they need to have that security. And there's a reason for it. This group provides stability at a stressful time. 12 to 14-year-olds, the girls are ready to leave their parents' nest. They want to be more independent. They want to be on their own, but they're not ready to be on their own. And so the click helps to stabilize. Woo! If you just joined, could you mute you, please? Oh my goodness, that's like a fax. Let me see if I can. Okay, I'm muting people, but I'm not sure if I'm muting the right person. Hello? Okay. I think I muted you. So hopefully, if someone's still on the line and you can hear me, let me know. Okay, I hear some background. All right.
I hear you, Tori.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my slides for those who can see it. So we're talking about cocoons, and it's just a temporary, it's like a bridge to independence, these little clicks. So surrounding oneself with those who look alike, talk alike, act alike, it makes the world feel safer and allows movement away from adults to feel more comfortable. So there is a reason for it, a reason why girls set these things up. And it's really all about the village. You know, we're meant to live in a different, way. We're meant to live in a village where we know we hang out with grandparents and babies and everyone in between, where everyone's pretty familiar. We don't really encounter a lot of strangers. This is kind of how our brains and bodies are meant to live. And so there's this, I think this like biological built-in thing where when a girl hits puberty, she knows that if she was to be rejected by her tribe, she would die. She could not survive in the wild by herself. So around 11, 12, 13, girls get really good at tuning into what is everybody else doing, saying, wearing, liking, disliking, and they start to adapt and mold themselves to that because they don't want to be kicked out of their tribe it feels like life or death. So when your daughters come to you, you're like, I have to have a cell phone. Everybody else has a cell phone. Everybody else is on Instagram. It feels like I'm going to die if I don't, or I have to have these certain shoes or wear this certain clothes, whatever. And so it's kind of nice just to be compassionate to this time of their life and recognizing it's just to help them feel safe and stable until they're strong enough to stand on their own. It's a temporary, normal developmental phase. When girls reach 15, they can there's a little more looseness and fluidity in their friendships. So they're kind of allowed to have friendships like their, lacrosse friends and their theater friends and their Girl Scout troop, and there's a little more ease. Boys and girls can be friends without just constant scrutiny around, you like him. But there's a lot of peer pressure before this age. So 15 is the age where it starts to loosen up. Senior year is when it's like we get our kids back right before they leave us. They're allowed to have relationships with other people that aren't within the group. Teachers and parents regain some status. Seniors can be nice to freshmen. There's a little more freedom there. Something maybe about the pending separation can cause seniors to appreciate, accept, or tolerate most human beings in their geographic vicinity. A great stage. And at this time, finally, nice, respectful girls are recognized as leaders by other students. In middle school, not so. You can be a nice, respectful, wonderful girl. That does not mean you're going to be popular. But by the senior year, things change. So this is kind of just the overview, and I like to teach this to girls. Girls really like seeing the big picture, from baby all the way up to the future, and kind of helps them feel normal and take things less personally. So often they can take things personally and think, oh, my friends don't want to be friends with me anymore. That's a reflection on who I am, and it really isn't. It's part of their social milestone and development. So I love girls to get that message. So number 1, life lesson. Change is the only constant. The one thing you will always have is you. So when friendship drama starts and things start to change, whether it's the girl initiating it, I don't like hanging out with my friends anymore. They're kind of bugging me. They're just getting on my nerves. Maybe your pond is feeling too small and you're ready to branch out, but if you do, then they're going to reject you and be mean to you and get their feelings hurt, and you want to be nice. There's just all this kind of stuff. Or it's happening to you because someone else is making that decision. This is the time to build a supportive relationship with yourself, okay? If you go to school and you are being rejected by other girls, the last thing you need is to come home and reject yourself. God, what's wrong with me? How come nobody likes me? And looking in the mirror, maybe it's because I'm fat, maybe because I'm ugly, maybe it's because I'm not wearing the right outfit. And we can some girls can continue that rejection at home and to there without even realizing it. This is the age to learn how to be your own best friend, how to be rejected all day at school and come home and go, that's okay. You still got you. I'm going to be nice to me. What can I do that makes me feel good? How can I, be supportive of myself? Like, they don't matter. That's what we would do if we were girlfriends. We'd be like, they don't know what they're talking about. Just forget them. You're awesome. I like your sense of humor. I like that you love science fiction books, and really tuning in to who am I? It's like changing focus. Instead of focusing on what everybody else thinks of me or the negative things I imagine they're thinking of me, but it's like, what lights me up? What feels like fun? What makes you want to get up in the morning? What are my interests? And just really going on like a scavenger hunt to get to know you is I think the perfect thing to do at this age. It's what I do in my summer camp is am I an extrovert or introvert? Do I love to have lots of friends or one really close friend? What's my favorite subject in school? How come I feel so happy every time I get home from track practice, but I feel exhausted when I walk through the mall, and just focusing on you and building a supportive relationship with yourself. This age, psychologists have declared as the most stressful age because the changes that girls are going through are not just quantitative, they're qualitative. They're going from a girl to a woman. It's a major transformation, just like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's not just becoming a bigger caterpillar. It is actually building a cocoon around itself, which for girls, sometimes this looks like closing the door more frequently, locking yourself in the bathroom more, wanting more privacy. Sometimes it looks like cocooning with someone else, where you look alike and talk alike and you do everything together. That cocoon creates a safe place for the caterpillar to completely dissolve and fall apart and then slowly emerge into the butterfly that it is meant to be. And so as parents, we can, or youth leaders or teachers, we can help create that supportive environment, but by it being non-judgmental. And it can be tricky, but it's really helpful to reserve judgment. It's just like when your baby was learning to walk, right? It is scary. It is new. It is hard. And you're going to fall down a lot. So when we see girls with some not so great social skills, we want to try hard to reserve judgment and not to say like, oh my gosh, you should know better right now. It's just easier to like not standing up for herself. That'd be one thing. And just going with the flow because everybody else is maybe being mean to somebody. Instead of saying like, you cannot do that. That is so rude. Don't be like that. We want to treat it like they're learning to walk and say, oh, that didn't look like it went so well. What could you have done differently next time? And just kind of keeping that openness, that possibility, curiosity about why your friends are switching and what do you see? I remember this was my son going through this, but he noticed his friend that he really liked so much he kind of wanted to hang out with the troublemakers for a while. He wanted to see what life was like from their perspective. And my son did not. He was not interested in that. And so just to be curious around like, oh, isn't that interesting that he wants to see what it's like to hang out with the bad boys? And instead of saying, that's a reflection on me, I should be different. Am I too good of a goody two-shoes? Maybe I should be like that. He's not a good friend. Instead of getting into the negative thinking, just being curious. I'm like, oh, isn't that funny? You know, she's outgrowing our group of friends. She wants to try on somebody else for a while. We got too itchy and too tight. So she's ready to try on a new friendship, like a new outfit. And that's okay. So really having, as parents and leaders and teachers, we can have a growth mindset of helping them learn from their friendships. What has this friendship taught you? What would you like to do differently next time? A lot of times parents get into trouble because we can futurize and catastrophize. When I see my daughter being selfish and self-focused and impolite, I think, oh my God, this is not going to serve her well in the future. She's not going to have any friends. Nobody's going to like her. And I kind of imagine this very dismal future. So if we can imagine a positive future for them and know this is just a lesson in life, it will help them. Also, kind of asking them questions to refocus them. Take it off the friendships that aren't going well and say, well, what do you love about you? What do you love about your life? What are you proud of that you did today? Bringing it back to the present and the positive and what they like about them. You know, they spend so much time going, she shouldn't be that way. She should act differently. She should be nicer. It's easy to look at other people and see how they can change, but to bring the focus and attention back to us and go, what do I like? What do I like about me? What do I like about my life? What do I appreciate? Any questions so far? I'm talking a lot. If you guys have anything you want to chime in on, I can unmute you. I guess some of you I've muted without your permission, haven't I? All right, well.
Hey, Tori.
Yes, hello.
Hey, this is Connie Ferguson.
Hello.
I just want to say that you're really hitting the nail on the head with some of these things, and I'm really excited. These are all good ideas.
Yeah, well, thank you.
That's it. Not much else to add, but keep going, lady.
You're so sweet. That's why I was like, I love that. Nice people come on my phone calls. I always get such great folks. But is there anything specifically that you're like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar. That's something I'm going to take away from this?
No, just bringing it back to the positive, because I do notice with my daughter and one of her best friends who's at our house almost every day, you know, it's a lot of, you know, I want them to feel like they can express how they're feeling, express their ideas, but it always does seem to be negative after negative after negative of like, you know, what's going on and who said this and why is she doing, you know. And so I like the idea of bringing it into the positive and having them focus on the positives of themselves. It makes a lot of sense. I think I'm going to be able to apply that.
Yeah. We are, I think my daughter's at a similar age. And that's why it's nice as parents, you know, we can be like, oh my God, you guys are so mean. Like listen to them all talk. It's so critical and it's so judgmental, but really I try to remind myself that
they're just trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to be kicked out of their tribe. And it's a safety thing, you know, if I don't behave like her, and I don't wear what she's wearing or say what she says, then I'll be safe. And so, it's kind of just not putting that into the future, but just staying like, this is where they are developmentally and it's appropriate. But what do you like about you, or what from that experience, what has it taught you you want to be more like or less like? And just kind of seeing it as that growing. We're always growing and learning and changing. Yeah, I think.
I like that the only constant is change. It's so true. And once you kind of just accept that, life is a lot easier.
And
all right, I'm going to go ahead and go back on mute.
Okay. And this next one, which people get to do whatever they want. Oh my gosh, is the most freeing thought. When you realize how true it is, like moms can embarrass their daughters if they want to, and daughters can, say whatever they want. People get to do what they want. When we focus so much on they should be different than they are, we lose the lesson. When we can go to people get to do and be whoever they want to be, then we get our power back. We get to control the things we actually have control over, and it is life-changing.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, please.
You've mentioned a little bit about bullying, and I'm wondering about, I had talked to my daughter's teacher in elementary school. Bullying seems to be so common, and I know a lot of parents complain about it. And she was also talking about what she saw on the playground, because I had asked her if some of the stories that my daughter was telling me about were true. And a lot of times she would just say, this happened on the playground, they were teasing this girl, and they were saying this, and I would say, well, did you stand up for her? If you knew that the story that they were saying wasn't true, did you stand up? And she said, no, I couldn't for this reason or this reason.
Yeah.
And when I asked the teacher said, oh yeah, that's common, that happens all the time. And I said, but where's the person that stands up for the person who's being teased? And she said, you mean the anti-bully? And I said, yeah. And she said, oh, nobody does that because they're afraid of being teased. But when I was a kid, there was always somebody who stood up for other people. And we moved around a lot, so it didn't matter what school I was at. There was always, because my dad was in the military, so there was always at least one or more person who was willing to do that. And I'm wondering, where are those kids now that aren't afraid or just have such a strong sense of right and wrong? Like, why do they just seem to have disappeared from this generation of kids? Why are kids so afraid of being, I mean, my daughter knows right from wrong, but she's so afraid to stand up for those kids.
Yeah. So it's really the way you're describing it, it's like a personality trait, right? That some people are just born with like, I don't know, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want. And some kids are born with a little more, just their innate personality is more reserved, more hesitant. I'm not going to jump in the middle of that skirmish, I'm going to let them duke it out themselves. I tend to avoid the whole word bullying, because what I've noticed, I do a lot of parent education, PTA and stuff. And of course, bullying is the hot topic. I mean, every American Idol candidate has been bullied in their school years, And sometimes kids can get, it's like what you focus on expands. So if you're thinking about where's the bully, he's being bullied, she's being bullied, you're focusing on somebody else's behavior and you have no control over it. I like to switch, to interpret it as social skills, and we all kids today could use some, improvement in their social skills. And two, let's get to know me. What about me? I'm the kind of person who wants to avoid conflict. And how do I support myself and be nice to myself about that, instead of saying I should be different than I am, I should be out there fighting for the good and defending? If that's not who you are, that's okay. I think it's good to look around and ask, like you're saying, scan your classroom and say, okay, if there was one person out there who doesn't care what people think and isn't afraid, who would that person be? And know, okay, if anything ever bad happens to me, I'm going to go to that kid, because I think he could handle it. And there's one in every class, even if the teacher is not tuning into it. And there's one kid in every class who doesn't want a best friend, doesn't want intimacy in their relationships. They want to play with anybody. And if your friends reject you, you could go sit at their lunch table and they'll be like, hey, what's up? They don't have that need for exclusion. So tuning into your classroom and go, who's that person? Who's the brave person? Who's the one that's willing to be open and hang out with anybody? I think that's a great place to put your attention and your focus, because it's so much more honoring, like kind of who people are at their core. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of just respecting of this is your personality. And boy, I could talk about this forever. I did an interview with a gal about confidence, raising confident daughters. And it's so fascinating because we have this image of what confidence would look like. And it's kind of like you're describing, like, I'm going to stand up to that bully and no one's going to mess with, my friend here. But sometimes you can be confident and be very quiet, very introverted, and stand your ground. And sometimes it just looks differently than we as parents think it should look. So kind of having your daughters look for that too. And go, who do you see? It's just kind of putting your focus on things that you want to see more of rather than focusing on the things that bug you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That's a big skill.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
mental discipline, and we spend our lifetimes learning it for sure. So,
and my daughter is in middle school now, and she will tell me that her friend, she has a group of friends now, and this friend is so popular for this, not popular, but the traits that she finds are so admirable, or this person has such an easy time meeting friends. But when I talk to her friends' parents, their daughters feel just as insecure or just as nervous. And I don't think she realizes that her friends feel that her friends feel like they're going through similar issues. So it's like the girls are all trying to hide it from each other.
Totally. Yeah, she's part of that 85% that feels socially excluded. On the outside, it's like, wait, what? If we're all on the outside, who's on the inside? So a lot of this comes down, Byron Katie has this great way of wording it that's very simple. That she says there's only 3 kinds of business. There's my business, your business, and God's business. And you can always tell when you're in someone else's business when you're arguing with reality. So if you're saying they should be different than they are, if you're suffering or having any kind of negative emotion, chances are you're in somebody else's business, right? So like, let's say if you have an introverted kind of, shy daughter and you're like, oh, she should be braver. Then you're kind of arguing, that's kind of God's business. Like God just made her that way. That's just how she was born. And, we want the bullies to stop being mean, or even your sister to stop being mean, or we want teachers to stop being mean. That's their business. Like they get to be whoever they want to be. So it's taking a look at what's my business here. And so like, let's take something like your daughter's friends don't want to be your friends anymore. Well, that's really confusing for parents because we're like, well, what here is my business and what's her business? Because of course we feel sad and we experience that emotion along with them, right? So your daughter's business is how she feels, how she interprets it. Right? I knew this one girl who just she struggled to make friends all through school. She didn't feel like she really fit in very well. But she noticed that adults seemed to like her. So she had this thought of, I'll bet that when I turn 18, everybody's going to like me. And so it helped her cope and deal with the fact that she didn't feel very close relationships with people her age. It didn't bother her because she had this thought, well, when I turn 18, everything's going to change. And when she turned 18, I'm sure she started walking with more confidence, being friendlier, assuming people liked her. So she made that true for her, right? And of course, adults did seem to enjoy her conversations more. She was kind of just one of those mature kids. So really, that's your business, is how am I interpreting people's behavior towards me? What do I think about it? What do I want to make it mean? How do I feel? So if your daughter's friends don't want to be friends with her, how she thinks and feels about it is her business. Your business is how you think and feel about it, right? If you've got, they shouldn't be this way, they should be nice to her all the time, then you're going to suffer because you don't get to control that. But you get to think, this will blow over, or I can help my daughter build some better social skills, or this is going to be a turning point for her where from this point on, she gets to find friends that really like her for who she is, not just friends of convenience. That's usually what happens when they're young. They're right next door to you, or they sit next to you in school, so they're your friends. as you get older, you get to find friends that really are a match for you. And that can be a very exciting time. It doesn't have to be one filled with sadness and grief. Right? And then God's business is just that friendships change at these ages, that all kids are not kind at these ages, that, kids are hooked on social media more. Like, we just kind of throw that up to saying that's just how things are. And so trying to figure out what here is my business, your business, and God's business is very freeing. So number 3, this is probably the most important for if you've got a daughter at home and who's struggling with some emotions, how to feel a feeling. So most of us don't learn this skill. We learn how to avoid feeling a feeling, but adolescent girls are usually quite good at it. And sometimes it's hard for parents to witness it because it could show up as high drama, high emotions, but this is how you do it. So the left brain wants to solve the problem. Let's think about it. But before you go there, as a parent, as a leader, as a counselor, as a teacher, you really will bypass a lot of stress by first addressing that right brain. That what is the feeling that you're feeling? Where in your body do you feel it? So if your daughter is being excluded right now, as a mom, how do you feel? Do you feel sad, mad? Usually it's like mad, glad, sad, or scared. So sad, scared, or angry. Or you might feel all of them, right? I'm scared for her future. I'm sad for her little heart that's being broken. And I'm mad about the other girl. So it might be all 3, but we can only do one at a time. So when your daughter comes home and she's upset, you want to try to guess. Like, you feel disappointed. You feel frustrated. And then to feel a feeling, you really want to go into the body, drop out of the head, drop below the neck, take a deep breath in, widen out the body, and go, what does this feeling feel like in my body? Disappointed. Where is it? For me, just now, doing this exercise and imagining, I can feel it in my chest. It feels heavy. It feels dark. It feels like so the question is it solid, liquid, or gas? Without a comma in it. But it feels like a weight, almost like a weighted blanket or something. And you really want to just allow it to be there. So Connie was talking about, like, focusing on the bright side, kind of looking at the positive aspects of, what do you like about yourself? What do you enjoy? What do you appreciate? Instead of looking at all the negative stuff, the critical mind that's at work. When you're alone at home with your daughter, kind of ask her, like, how do you feel when you're focused on what everybody else isn't doing right? And how does that feel inside your body? Like, where in your body do you feel that? Does it feel kind of, sad that, like, nobody does anything right? Or whatever their thought is that she's thinking about it, When you see somebody being bullied at school and you don't defend them, there's a reason, right? You might be feeling sad for them. Sad is not a great place to defend a bully from, So what does sadness feel like? And really allowing yourself to have it. I cannot stress it enough that this is the most important thing, is to allow yourself to feel a feeling. The ways, because this is the age girls are going to learn to either feel it or avoid it. This is how we avoid emotion. We overeat, we overwork, we oversleep, we overdrink, we overwatch TV, we overexercise. Pretty much anything you can overdo is a way to avoid emotion. Blaming and complaining, guilt or self-blame, kind of just taking it like, what's wrong with me? How come they don't want to be my friends? Worry is so compelling and distracting that is an excellent way to avoid the emotion, which usually is fear. So allowing yourself just to feel fear. Where in your body do you feel that? your daughter doesn't have good friends and she's sad. Is that sadness or is that fear? Because you're imagining a dismal future, you know, where I know I'm a very good catastrophizer and futurizer. Drama is a way to control others' behavior, which is a great distraction from our own emotions. Judging. Focusing on self-image. How do I look? I'm too fat. I'm too, thin. My eyebrows are too dark. I don't know. We can get really picky, but when you focus on the external appearance, it is a way of avoiding emotion. Perfectionism. Perfectionism isn't just like keeping your room clean. It's like black and white thinking. Like, I have to do everything right. I have to say everything right. I can't make a mistake. It's really a way of avoiding emotions. It's very common. So as a parent, check in with yourself. See which one of these you're doing and how can you allow that emotion to do it. I used to do it with being late. Oh my gosh, my kids would watch me just, I can't believe I'm late again. I'm so stupid. I should have left earlier. I should have taken this way. I should have made a right instead of a left. And I would just beat myself to a pulp in the car with my kids watching. And now I'm trying to undo my perfectionistic children. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. What's really important is how you feel. Focus on that. I have a lot of undoing to do. And I used to focus on money as a way of avoiding emotions. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I wasted 50 cents or whatever. Overthinking, overanalyzing is probably one of my favorite ways to avoid emotions as well. And then just worshiping busy. If you're busy, you don't have time to feel. So these are things parents do, adults do, and that teenagers are learning from us. And as emotions start to creep up that become stronger, they're going to pick up on one of these. And we really want to just drive straight to the emotion and say, allow it. So here's some ways to help your child and the girls in your life feel their feelings. Practice feeling our own feelings, especially before you talk to your daughters. It's really tempting. I used to do this. And anyways, I'm like, I would just have my emotions were just like bursting on the inside and like I have to get it out. And the way I would get it out would be like expressing my worries, whether it was to my children or my husband. I'm like, you need to hear this worry. And then as soon as I get it out, don't ever do that again. Then I'd feel better. But it's so much better modeling to allow yourself to feel the fear. Where is it? What does it look like, feel like, sound like? Really give yourself a good 90 seconds. Don't run away. 90 seconds. And then go to your child and say, okay, this is what I'd like. I noticed that you were, you didn't text me back when I texted you. And that really set me into like, where is my child? I'm really worried about them. And you're not looking to them to solve your emotional problems. Okay, so number 2, point it out when you notice changes in emotions. So this is, kids need an emotional intelligence. And we're so good at observing them, just like they observe their friends at school. We can notice our kids. So start pointing it out to them. Of like, wow, like every time you come home from basketball, you are so happy. That's it. That's all you have to say. You're just helping them build self-awareness. Or, boy, when it's time for you to do your math homework, you just drag your feet. Do you notice that? Maybe math is your least favorite subject. Do you think so? And just notice. I remember my mom pointing out to me that I would complain about my best friend, the same complaint over and over again. You have the same, you've been saying the same thing for years. I'm like, really? Like, I didn't even know it. And so pointing those things out, like, boy, your friends seem like they're causing you a lot of stress lately. Don't try to fix it. Let them figure it out, because when you give them their emotions, then they feel competent to solve their own problems. It's an awesome feeling. But you can use these 3 magic words. You feel, and then fill in the blank. Mad, sad, glad, or scared. And they will correct you. If you get it wrong, they don't care. It feels really good to have somebody try to guess what you're feeling, because this is what it's all about. It's all about emotions. And so if you say you feel disappointed, and they're like, no, I don't. I'm not disappointed. I'm mad. They still like it. it's weird. I do this in my summer camp. So the girls, I'm like, how did that feel? And they're like, it felt really good. I'm like, weird, right? But you have to be careful just to use these 3 words, not to do, you feel like you wish you could beat them up or whatever. Just the 3 words, the one emotion word. And number 4 is know your triggers. So like what triggers you so that you can clean up your own emotions first before you engage in conversation like I should have done before I got in the car with my children. Being late is a trigger for me because I feel like I'm being rude to that person, and I have this problem where I want everybody to like me. And I worked on that, but it still creeps up every once in a while. And so these are ways you can help your children kind of build their emotional intelligence, feel more empowered and like they know themselves, and kind of teach them how to have their own back. Number 4, you get to decide what you make a person's behavior mean about you. So and this is something that is great modeling. Okay, so sometimes we don't know what kids going on inside our girls' minds, so we can tell them what's going on inside our minds. And telling them, you get to decide what you make it mean. So let's say your friend, I just keep going back to your friend isn't one of your friend anymore because it's just such a general, common one. If you guys have a better example, I'd be happy to kind of use that as an example. But let's say someone doesn't want to be your friend anymore. You can decide to make that mean you are unlovable, unlikable, ugly, fat, rude, stupid, unpopular, unpolite, that this is going to be you for the rest of your life. You could make this mean something very gloomy and dismal. And many girls do. Or you can choose to make it mean something more that feels better. Okay? So you want to find a thought that feels true, and the truth will set you free. So the feeling you're looking for is freedom. So sometimes the truth is Sophie doesn't want to be my best friend anymore. And even though that's not a happy thought, if it's true, there's a freedom with it. It's like accepting reality, allowing people to be who they're going to be and allowing you to move on. So it doesn't have to be happy. It needs to be true. And that truth is a feeling that's very individual, and it's inside your own body. Okay, so helping for you, let's say my daughter is having social problems. I have an email here somewhere, but her friends don't want to be her friends, or she doesn't feel like she has a good group of friends, that her friends are really like her for who she is. Well, she can make that mean that she's weird and there's something wrong with her. Or she can make that mean that she has yet to find her best friend. Her best friend's still out there. She will meet a group of friends that are more like her when she gets to high school, when she becomes an adult. Or, she gets to choose how she wants to interpret it, but she's going to be looking for a feeling of freedom. And as parents, we can do the same thing. Right? And so if we find a thought that feels true, she might pick up and copy ours and feel like, that is true. Like, yeah, these girls aren't really my kind of girls, and that's okay. They're more interested in boys than I am, and that's okay. But also making sure girls are noticing the positive one. There might be a girl out there who would love for her to be her friend, and she doesn't pick up on the signals because she's so stuck in believing the negative thoughts about herself. So making sure she's tuning into those things as well. Like, there are lots of people that would like me to be friends with them. Might be true. It might not be. So learning how to listen to what the truth feels like in your body and know when you're lying to yourself. And anytime you're lying to yourself, it's going to feel heavy or constricted, or almost like I get like a cut off feeling. Like, let's just ignore the second half of all my body. I'm just going to pretend like everything's fine. So pay attention to that so you can know if you're telling yourself the truth or a lie. Any questions about that one? That's kind of a tricky one. it's bringing you back into your business and your power of I get to decide what I make it mean. And the truth is this. Hopefully I didn't mute those who are wanting to talk, and I've muted you. If so, I apologize. Number 5.
Hey, Corey.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Deborah.
Hello.
I just have a question. I'm a coach as well,
Yay.
and I'm totally, been drinking the same Kool-Aid that you have and helping kids and everything. My 10-year-old daughter, when I do all these things that you say, says, yeah, don't be getting all coachy on me.
Yeah.
How do you handle it with your kids? How do you, because those are the hardest ones, right? Because you're the mom and they don't want to listen to you, and others perhaps do. So how do you handle that with your children?
Yeah, well, of course, first of all, God bless every child of a life coach, because they are just our guinea pigs.
Absolutely.
And I'm very sympathetic. I'm like, it must be hard, because I'm like the queen of optimism. And then, I've got kids who want privacy and they don't want to tell me their innermost thoughts. And I'm like, yeah, you poor thing, But, okay, now I lost the question. The question was,
like, how do you, if your kids push back on you, my daughter will say, I'll try the whole, how does it feel? And, reversing it and what's so good about this and all of that, all of our toolkit stuff, I bring it out. She's like, yeah, don't get coachy. I mean, how do you handle it when your kids, or if your kids do that?
Yeah, really, it's a short, quick answer, and it's modeling. I do it in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm having a negative emotion or I'm having a little temper tantrum or something, is I just talk myself through it out loud. Okay, what's going on here for me? Oh my gosh, okay, I really got triggered there. All right, what am I feeling? I feel tense. I feel constricted. My fists are tight. I feel, tightness in my shoulders. My jaw is clenched. What's this? What's going on for me? I'm really mad. What made me so mad? And I just do it out loud. Of course, these days the car is a great time for kids and parents to spend together. But, still at home, I'm like, oh my gosh. Or I'll be like, I just got to call. My son loves it. He and I are very similar. So it's really noisy. You can mute yourself. It's not Deborah. Thank you.
It's not Deborah.
Yeah, Deborah, you can say is embarrassment. Really figuring out, like, I think we all kind of have a default emotion where it's like for me, anger is really easy for me to go to. And if I get an embarrassment is the hardest emotion for me to feel. I don't like it. So if something triggers me and I feel embarrassed, I will go to anger instead. It's like I just don't want to go there. And so really kind of slowing that process down, talking it through out loud, and then having them watch me get to my own conclusion. And I just back it off. And so my son loves it when I'll go to him and I'll say, I got an email. The subject line was, I don't know, I have a complaint. And my initial reaction is like, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. They hate me. Like I did something wrong. I'm a bad girl. And he just loves hearing those stories because he can really relate to them. Yeah. And then it's something totally minor, or whatever. But it was no big deal. It's not like the world did come crumbling down. And so he really likes to hear that. I actually think my daughter likes hearing stories of me, embarrassing stories, but more when I was her age. I just think it helps them feel more human. We want to be really careful not to be perfectionistic around our kids and to like have such high expectations of ourselves, but to show them our flaws and to show them we aren't perfect and that we make mistakes still. And because it's really just like they can tune into their friends, we can tune into our kids and kind of put them under the spotlight. And really we want to model focusing on ourselves and, kind of saying, this is what I love about myself, that even when I freak out, that I'm embarrassed, like I still do it anyways, like I'm still putting myself out there, or that I can come back and be nice to myself and be like, there, that's okay. Have a Girl Scout.
Yeah. Reward yourself.
Yeah, or just like
Yeah.
have your own bat and model that for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
A nice thing.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So this is
All good.
Yeah, this number 5 is kind of my favorite thing that we do, where feeling your feelings is the most important. I think this is my favorite thing I do with the girls. Here they are doing vision boards at my Girl Scout camp, or not my Girl Scout camp, my girls leadership camp. So first they kind of look through the magazines. We cut out pictures that symbolize something we like, and we really try to pay attention to the body, not the brain, because the brain will say, well, everybody else has a picture of One Direction in their vision board, so I'm going to have one too. But the body just likes what it likes, and it doesn't know why. And so as you're looking at a picture, you just might notice yourself leaning forward, feeling expansive, feeling open or light or warm. And so we really teach the girls to listen to their bodies and then cut it out and put it in. And it's okay that you don't know why you like it. But what's fun is sometimes you get a whole book, and the girls, without even realizing, there'll be a theme. I remember this one girl who, she had pictures of shoes and jewelry and nature and animals, and you put them all together, and it was Africa. I mean, it was the textures and the colors and the animals. It was like, oh my, did you know you liked Africa? She's like, no, I had no idea. So it's just really kind of cool to just listen to the body and put it all together. I remember this other girl, I said, your vision journal here, looks like a wedding planner. Have you ever thought about being a wedding planner? And she's like 16 or something. She's like, well, no, but I did just sign up for the prom committee. Like, oh, wow, like, look at that. So that's just the fun part of vision journal. But then once we get them all together, then we take the vision journal and every experience you've had. We'll take it like this year. Like, what has this year of school taught me that I want more of and I want less of? And what do these pictures teach me that I want more of and less of? And they're open to interpretation. So you might look at your pictures and say, oh, this is telling me I want more nature, more outside time, more adventure. And someone else might look at the exact same pictures and say, oh, these pictures are telling me I want more connection and friendship and, I don't know, like competition, right? Same pictures can tell different stories. That's why it's such a good question of, what did this friendship trouble I had in 8th grade teach me that I want more of and less of? And when it comes to friends, maybe I want more loyalty and less drama. Maybe I want more fun and less stress. And it's so empowering. They're getting into their business, staying in where they have control and power, and then teaching them what to look for and focus on. Okay, all these girls bug me. What has that taught me about me? That every life experience I have is here to teach me something about myself, to grow myself into being more of who I'm meant to be. To me, it gets them out of perfectionism. It gets them out of things are supposed to look a certain way. Everyone's supposed to be nice all the time, or friends should never be mean or shouldn't lie to you. It gets them out of all of that garbage. And so every interaction is here to teach me something. And also asking the question of, how do I want to feel? Because really, all anybody ever wants is a feeling, or they want to avoid a certain feeling. So, we want to feel, and really asking, how do you want to feel? When you're hanging out with these friends, you feel stressed and overwhelmed and tense and critical, judged. How do you want to feel? Because that is totally within your power. You get to decide how you want to feel. Nobody can make you feel a certain way without your permission. They can criticize you all they want. They can judge you. They can leave you out. But you get to decide how you want to feel about that. And that's stepping into your power and your business. So it's super empowering. The teen years don't need to be awful, but they can be transformative. So I say we use it to train the brain to think in positive directions that are super supportive of me, learning how to be my own best friend, have my own back, say nice things to the mirror, and disregard anything that doesn't feel good. Girls need a non-judgmental, pressure-free environment. This is one of the things, and I did an interview series. If you're signing up for this call, you're going to get the interview series of other coaches, teachers, just entrepreneurs who kind of work with girls and created their own girls leadership type workshops. And the one thing we kind of all agree on is it's not the content that's as important as the non-judgmental environment that is created there. Every girl in their evaluation always writes that as their favorite thing. Well, that and making friends. But I don't think they realize, it's like fish don't know they're in water. They don't know they're swimming in these judgmental cultures with girls their age until they step outside of it and they're like, oh, I could just be me. So the more we can, whether it's at home or in these little workshops, creating a little, even just a one, day, 3-hour workshop where girls can come together and kind of create that non-judgmental environment. It's so powerful that it gives them there's something else out there. When girls focus on who they are and what they want, it makes life easier and more fun, just naturally. We don't have to tell them, lighten up. It's just refocusing instead of saying they should be different. Ooh, what's this here to teach me? It is impossible to make a mistake. This has been probably the lesson that's been taken the longest for me to learn. It's still a hard one for me, but it's my mantra. And this is one my kids hear me saying to myself a lot. You either get what you want or you get an education. There are no mistakes. And that's really, I think our culture, I don't think, kind of like that fish swimming in water thing. We don't know we're in water. I don't think moms realize how much perfectionism is a part of being a parent. Like we have to parent perfectly and do everything right, and it's our responsibility, and we can get really caught up in that because there's just, for some reason, moms don't seem very forgiving. I don't know. So once we can recognize that where we've picked up some perfectionism, and then reminding ourselves, doesn't matter. You either get what you want, you get an education. So this girls leadership camp that I created, I only do it 2 weeks out of the summer. So as a life coach, I was working during the school year, coaching parents over the phone, and I loved it, teaching my sex ed classes. And in the summertime, I noticed that my business dropped off and I wasn't making the money that I was making during the school year. And I thought, how can I make some more money in the summer? And it was really that plus what would be fun for me that would feel like play. I thought, I'm going to invite some girls over and play with them. And it was amazing. It was super fun. I felt like I got to kind of experiment and try things out. I got to be a kid again and play games and activities and things that I don't like to sit in a lecture hall and listen. I like to move my body. So I made it hands-on, experiential. And they seemed to enjoy it too. But what blew my mind was the feedback they gave me of like, I learned I'm important in the world. I learned the power of my mind. I mean, like, oh my God, like I had no idea they were gaining so much. So that's the other thing I would say to the life coaches. Like, even if your kids roll, and parents too, your kids roll your eyes and tune you out, they're still getting it. They're still absorbing it because these girls had like blank faces. I'm like, are you liking it? Are you getting anything out of this? Are you understanding? And they're kind of, yeah, whatever, because they're 12 and 13 and 14 and they didn't know if it was cool to like it or whatever. But their evaluations were amazing. So what started for me was this camp, but then realizing like, I don't want to do this. It's so valuable and they get so much out of it and it was so much fun, but I don't want to do it year round. I don't want to do it every week out of the summer. Instead, I want to encourage other people to do it because it's so simple. I think it lends itself to a small group size. I don't want to have 50 girls there. 12 is perfect. It's weekends, it's after school. It's great to have it. Like if you say you have a full-time job, 1 week out of the summer or 1 weekend day is you can make really good money in a short period of time. And it kind of lends itself to a part-time basis. It helps us as parents kind of live it to give it, that we teach the things we most need to learn and want to learn, and the stuff that we like to think about and research. I love reading books about girls' friendships and, social and emotional learning. That's fun for me. And so it gives me an excuse to come up with new ideas and creative lesson plans. And really, I think, gosh, who else is going to do this? If we don't, the people who like the subject and like talking about it with other girls, I mean, if your kids are tired of you talking to them about this stuff, maybe it's time to teach other kids other than your own children. When you have a passion for something and an interest, that's the universe telling you you're meant to do it. You're meant to do more of it. And creating that non-judgmental environment is just the most coolest gift that we can give to the girls. So if you are hearing this call to teach social, emotional, and life coaching and leadership skills to girls, I want to teach you my curriculum. And I want to walk you through it as though you're a girl in the camp, where you're experiencing it from her perspective, because I think you'll gain more out of it. You'll learn more about yourself and you'll retain it better. So, and we play games and we have fun, but you get to see it from the girl's perspective. And so this is what I've created, this Launching Girl Leaders. It's an in-person workshop, and it's going to be in Austin, Texas, April 24th through 26th. And it's going to be in a motel, but we're going to do the activities, the games, so you can learn how to create that non-judgmental environment. That's so key, because girls are very private and they don't just walk in and self-disclose until they know it's safe. They're not just going to open up and tell you their problems. And so we want to respect that and respect their privacy, while at the same time kind of slowly getting them more comfortable with each other. And how do you create those social bonds, and doing it firsthand and modeling it for them. So we're going to do this in Austin in April, and I'm super excited. So it's an in-person mastermind training event. You'll experience the workshop firsthand. You will get a curriculum binder of the activities with permission to use them, so that you don't have to take notes and remember everything. You'll just play, you'll experience it, and you get to take it home with you so that it'll refresh your memory. You'll have a clear vision of how to integrate girls' leadership workshops into your life. What does it look like for you in a way that works? And you could do it at your church group. You could do it with your Girl Scout troop. It doesn't have to be something that you charge money for, but I highly encourage you to, because we want to teach our girls how to step into their own power. And boy, asking people to pay you for something that you are doing is going to challenge us, So I think it's great to model that for your daughters, for your girls, and saying, I'm going to ask people to pay me, and I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyways, is a huge life lesson for girls. You'll create your own vision journal to give inspiration and insight to what's next for you. So you'll do it as though you're a girl. For girls, I do journals instead of boards, because the privacy thing, they may not want to show everybody what they're interested in. Connections with other life coaches, teachers, and leaders who have a passion for empowering girls. So fun to swap ideas, and other people who have the same passions. It's just, the enthusiasm is overwhelming when we all get together. And then you also get 2 bonus follow-up calls with me. If you want to coach, you've got an area where you're like, I need to clean this up, because I get triggered every time somebody calls my daughter a loser or whatever. Like, let's clean that one up. Or it just might be to clarify your plans, talk about money, problem solve, whatever it takes, like location, where am I going to do this, logistics, however you want to use those phone call times is up to you. To put your dreams into action and to just help the world. I mean, these girls need what we have learned from going through middle school and high school, and the experiences that we've had. They deserve to benefit from it, and they just gain so much. Does anybody have any questions so far? All right, so this is right for you if you love the idea but you aren't sure how to start. If you wish you could attend a girls' leadership camp, if this sounds like fun for you as a girl, then it's definitely right for you. You like spending time with girls, and you could do all ages. You could do ages 7 to 9. You could do ages, 18 and 19 and 20. It's totally up to you. You could focus on an area of interest for you. If you want to talk about body image or, something specific, confidence training or peer pressure, or you could kind of cater it in whichever direction you want. It's really about learning how to create the environment and the focusing on who am I? What do I love? What's important to me? That's kind of more my curriculum is. But then we also do how to socially support each other. If you want to learn some new lesson plan ideas, activities, and games that create connection, maybe you already have a group of girls and you just want more ideas of what to do with them. Sometimes you can tell if something's right for you if you feel a calm knowing, like your body's just like done, like it's already happened. Like if I tell you the sun's going to rise tomorrow and you're like, yep, I agree, then that's usually a sign that something's right for you. Or sometimes you feel an excited nervousness of like, oh my God, this sounds so great, but I could never do that. Like, but I can't go to Austin, that's too far away. Or, oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. If you feel that is another sign that something's right for you. So my website is Launching Girl Leaders, but it takes you to lifecoachingforparents.com/Launching Girl Leaders. So whichever one's easier for you to remember, they both go to the same place. And this will teach you more about my in-person event. If you are interested, it's only $100 to secure your spot. And it will go through the details of like what we're going to cover on what days. So again, that's launching-girl-leaders.com. And there's a registration form there to put a $100 deposit down. I'm also going to send you a follow-up email where if you are listening to this and you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this, but I know the perfect person, I'm going to send you a little nomination form. Sometimes other people can see things in us that we can't see ourselves. When I started putting this together, people keep popping into my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I would send my daughter to this teacher for a week in the summer with no holds back. I would love for her influence to be on my daughter. Like, I know she's fabulous. And the more I got into it, I started thinking of more and more people. I'm like, she would love this. Again, this is not a full-time commitment. This is something to play around with on the weekends and after school and summer times, and you can just try it out. But sometimes it's easier for us to go, you would be brilliant at this, and for somebody else might not have ever thought of it. So I'm going to send you a little nomination form, and you can give me the person's name and like email and phone number, and they get to be flattered and say, you know what, somebody thinks that you would be really good at this, and it might just help them kind of break themselves out of their routine. I also have a discount that if you sign up with a friend, you and a friend both want to come, you'll both get 50% off the full price of the workshop, which is $4.99, so that's a good deal too. It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. And this is just good for us to remember that as we're watching our girls make mistakes, stumble and fall through their social and emotional lives, that it's a normal part. And we're there to guide them and teach them with support and encouragement, just like when they're learning to walk. Say, come on, you can do it. And then it takes courage to be yourself. For us too. For us to say, you know what, I kind of want to teach girls leadership camps. Like, that sounds like fun. That takes courage. If it's something important to you, it's going to feel a little, I don't know, daunting. If someone said, hey, can you, come, I don't know, plant flowers in my yard? I could be like, yeah, that doesn't sound very daunting or exciting or scary, but I could do it. But if they said, will you come and, teach a week of, 12 girls, these social skills, like, oh, really? You want me to do that? Like, that's kind of scary. And that's kind of a sign that something's right for you. So just pay attention. And if you think this isn't right for you, maybe somebody else it is right for. But I want to know from those who email me or those who ask questions, do you feel like I can I answer your questions more specifically? Do you feel like I kind of covered a lot of the answers, or can I help you out a little bit more? Just unmute yourselves and feel free to jump in.
Hey, Tori, this is Deborah again.
Hello.
Hello. I have two questions. One, I'm not going to be able to go to Texas. Will you ever offer this or some version of this remotely? And two, where do you have your camp? Is it just at your home, or how do you find space?
Yeah, I have done it in my home, which is kind of how I ended up with 12 girls. So I'm like, well, that's what I could fit in my kitchen table. And I have a big backyard. So I use like every inch of my backyard and my house. It's kind of nice to feel like, you know, we're using it the whole shebang. But, and that's where I started thinking, as my camps would fill up so quickly. You know, parents are often more willing to spend money on their children than on themselves. And so I noticed that it would fill up fairly quickly, even though the moms were like, I'd really like to come to this camp. But if I offer one for grown-ups, they're like, oh, I'm busy, you know. But for the daughters, they're like, yeah, take her. So, so I started thinking, like, should I rent a site? And I did start looking around, and that's when I was like, you know, I really want to keep it small. And so, but certainly you can rent rooms in churches, and I do have a facility that on a school campus that doesn't use it in the summertime that I could rent. But as at right now, I don't have plans to do another one other than Austin, but we'll see how it goes, and maybe I will offer another one.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? I have some.
Hey, Tori. It's Catherine. I just wanted to ask, do you ever get asked, can you offer a similar course for boys, and what your sort of answer is around that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I get it a lot. And my thinking, I have a son, and he certainly, you know, benefits from my influence on him. But my thinking is boys need men. And I'm sure people would argue and disagree with me, but there comes a point in the boy's life where they just really, they need that male influence. And I found someone who does some really cool stuff. I found a couple, when I started looking, I found some cool like rite of passage things in nature that men do with boys that sounded really cool. And this one guy who uses flying power kites to kind of help failure to launch boys, you know. So there's some cool stuff out there, but I just didn't feel like I was the best match. Like, I get girls, I understand it, I'm pretty girly. And I'm sure there's some women out there who feel like much more comfortable with boys, but I just thought I'm not what they're looking for personally. So that's why I decided to focus on girls.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, great question. Any other ones? I put a few up here. It says, I'm not sure I want to teach, but I'd love to attend just for me. Can I still come? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is too, though, like you could make like if you spent $4.99 on this workshop, one day you could make that back. You know, I charge $200 for my summer camp. So, you know, I make, $2,400 in a week or something like that. So it's really pretty easy to make back your investment on this. Absolutely, you can come even if you're not going to use it for business purposes. You can just come play with me because it's so fun. I'd like to teach girls about positive body image. Can I use this curriculum? Yes. I don't do that emphasis. So if somebody else is interested in that, yes, it's needed. But I think it's great to spend some time critically analyzing the messages you get from the media. We actually do it in our sex education class. But then bringing the focus back to emotions and who am I on the inside, you know? What is my essence? What's my core personality? What do I love? That's, I think is so important. So the reason I'm doing it in Austin in April is because Martha Beck is having this gathering of wayfinders, she calls it. So Martha Beck is one of my life coaching teachers, and she is hosting this event on the weekend. So if anybody wants to, it's open to the public. So if anybody wants to come, you can check out her conference on the weekend and tie it in, and then mine starts when hers ends. So that's why I did it when and where I did it. So, here's reviewing and integrating these 5 life lessons. Change is the only constant. People can do whatever they want. How to feel your feelings is probably the thing. Every client I have with life coaching, that's probably one of the main things that we work on, because we're just so trained as a culture to deny and suppress and not feel if they're negative. Sometimes we suppress and don't allow positive feelings too, but most of us are okay with those. That you get to decide what you make things mean, and that the truth shall set you free. And then really focusing on, what do I want? What has these experiences and these life lessons taught me that I want more of and want less of? So integrating these into our lives first is the most powerful way, which is why I like doing life coaching for parents, because the parents get to integrate them, not just teach, but actually live it to give it. When we practice it, then the kids will pick up it automatically. If anybody has more questions, if I accidentally muted you, I tried to unmute everybody, but I apologize if it didn't work. If you want to talk further, you can just about anything, feel free. You can email me and you can send up a link. You can set up a time to talk on the phone. My mission with Launching Girl Leaders is to motivate moms, life coaches, teachers, and counselors who feel called to empower girls to accept that call. So if you feel that calling or that interest or that passion, I want to help bridge that and teach you how to take that next step by giving you some confidence, some ideas, some inspiration, motivation, and curriculum to make that happen. So you can go to my website, lifecoachingforparents.com/Launching Girl Leaders, or just go to launching-girl-leaders.com. It'll take you to the same place. So, any questions about helping girls with drama or the event in Austin? Anything else I can help you with? It's been nice to have you guys on here. I really appreciate your participation and jumping in. And if nobody has any other questions, I guess I go, but I will hope to hear from you. I'm going to send you out the recording. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to seeing y'all, but I'm not having much luck. There I am. Can you see me now? Oh, you're all muted. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to send you the recording, and I'd love to stay in touch. So please contact me, and I'm going to send you that nomination form. So if you can think of somebody who'd be really good at this, I think our world needs girls to be empowered and to kind of own that power, and we can show them how it's done. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.